Alright, this is the third video on modeling and solving two-step equations with variables on both sides of the equal sign. So this being the last, we finally actually have variables on both sides of the equal sign. The last couple we only had variables on one side just to kind of build up. So this equation we're going to work with is 2x plus 11 equals negative 1 minus x. So we have positive variables, we have negative variables, we have positive constants, we have negative constants, we have variables on both sides with the equal sign. This equation has it all. So we're going to try to model this using algebra tiles. I said try, we're actually not just going to try, we're going to do it. So the first thing we're going to put on the mat is 2x. We have 2x on the left and negative 1x on the right. Remember that if you don't see a number in front of x, it's implied that there is a 1 there. So here's our 2x represented by two long green bars. And here is our negative x represented by one long red bar. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to put my positive 11 on the left and my negative 1 on the right. So these are going to be represented by the short square tiles. Positive 11 is going to be 11 short yellow square tiles. So now I can see the left side is matched up, 2x plus 11. We still need our negative 1 on the right. So I'm just going to drag one square red tile to the right side. Alright, now we're done modeling it. We have 2x plus 11 equals negative x minus 1. Notice at the bottom it says negative x minus 1 and not negative 1 minus x. Those mean exactly the same thing. As long as the sign is still negative in front of the 1 and the x, then you did it right. So remember, two steps means two steps. It's called a two-step equation. Step 1 is we need to separate our variables and our constants. I'm going to go ahead and put all my variables on the left and my constants on the right, but there is no wrong way as long as they're separated. That's what's important. Ideally, what you want is after you separate them, you want you're going to want a positive variable. That doesn't always happen, but it's ideal. So like I just showed you, I can't just drag over this negative x to the left side and then just cancel it out. Just like in the last two videos, we don't do that. We don't just drag it over, we have to cancel it out with something of the opposite sign. So since this is a negative x, I'm going to cancel it out with a positive x, and if I'm putting a positive x on the right, that means I have to put a positive x on the left as well. So that now I have 3x plus 11 equals negative x plus x minus 1. That negative x and positive x cancel each other out. We can't have a long red bar and a long green bar in the same side of the equal sign. Okay, so if I were to cancel out this negative 1 on the right with a yellow square, then I would be left with nothing on the right side, and that's not what we want. We're going to move these 11 to the right side. So I need to drag 11 negative ones to the left to cancel out the 11 positive ones on the left. Struggling a little bit over here, but that's now we have, you can see at the bottom, plus 11 minus 11. So if you remember, that's called a zero sum. Since we are subtracting 11 on the left, we also have to subtract 11 on the right. This is where I tried to duplicate it and then just put it on the right. The website does not like that. It's going to still count it as being on the left because you duplicated it from the left, so that's not going to work. I'm going to go ahead and delete that, and you have to just freshly drag 11 negative ones to the right. And be careful that you do drag negative ones. Remember that we started with positive and we had to put some negatives, so that means we have to put negatives on the right as well, not positives. So I'm putting 11 red squares on the right side, just like I put 11 red squares on the left side. Okay, so since there's nothing to cancel it on the right, the -1 minus 11 just gives you -12. You only start canceling stuff out if you have yellows and reds together. We can't have that. So these 11 -1s are canceling out the 11 positive ones. Okay, and now we have our variables on the left and we have our constants on the right. We're left with 3x equals -12. So that was step 1. We've done it. We've separated variables and constants. The next step, step 2 of our two-step equation, is to divide. And we're going to divide that since our coefficient is still 3. We're going to need 3 rows. Remember, the number in front of the x is called our coefficient. So I'm going to click down here at the rows. I'm struggling today. I'm going to click down here on the rows. I'm going to choose 3 rows. So you can see these 3 little dotted lines, 3 sections now divided by dotted lines. I'm going to put 1 x into each section. And now I'm going to divide these 12 little -1 squares between those 3 sections evenly. Alright, and those 12 divided by 3 gave us, if we look at 1 row, that's what we want, is 1 row, because that's what it is after it's divided. 1x is equal to -4.